Hey guys, so today I'm going to be looking at people share their true creepy stories. Yeah, let's just get right into the video. It was near Halloween time when my friends and I were telling ghost stories. My friend said she was going to tell a story about her parents' first date. She said she didn't like telling the story since it was actually true, but we prodded her on. To cut to the chase, the parents had spent a nice, if awkward, first date. And around the time that they would have said goodnight, the male in the situation, my friend's dad, suggested that they go for a midnight hike up Provo Canyon. He apparently knew the place, since he had done a fair amount of rock climbing in the area. So the two drove up to the mouth of the canyon, got out of the cars and started hiking under just the light of the stars, since it was a new moon. At some point, the male starts getting a bad feeling, since the pathway ahead, which would pass under some trees, would be dark, and because it was getting to be quite late. He ignores the feeling and presses on. In later rehearsings of the story, the female would say that she had felt the same feeling at what was probably the same time, though she didn't know the trail like he did. A minute later, the feeling came back to the male. He ignored it again and started walking a bit of the way into the trees when his foot hit something soft in the middle of the path. Under the trees, it was too dark to see what this soft thing was, and the feeling came back stronger than ever. Instead of finding out what his foot had bumped into, he and the female both agreed to hightail it out of there. Years later, after being married for some time, they were watching an interview with the serial killer. In response to a question asking him to describe the time that he felt the closest to being caught, he explained about the night that he lured a girl into Provo Canyon and had just killed her when he heard some people coming up the trail. He explained how he hid in the trees just in time, only to watch some guy walk right into the body and for some reason just turn around and walk away. Damn. I think that was a good thing they freaking ran away. Honestly, why would you even do this? Like, at night, you guys decide to hike? Like, that's some psycho thing. Seriously, why? Who hikes at night when you can't even see anything? This is freaking creepy, but yeah, seriously, guys, don't hike at night, okay? That's when all the psychos come out to play. When I was younger, I had an imaginary friend who lived in this massive antique dresser. We'd chill out, and I vividly remember him telling me stories, although I have absolutely no recollection of what they actually were. I remember one day talking to my parents about it. Dad traveled quite a bit, so he wasn't up to date with what I was into, and when I started telling him about my dresser buddy, he wanted to know his name. It was something innocent like Peter or Patrick, but I can still see him going right in the face. I drew Peter/Patrick out for him, and the very next day, him and my uncle took out that dresser and burned it. It wasn't until a few years later when I found out my dad's little brother, my uncle, also had the same friend with the same name who lived in that same antique dresser. After a few months of typical imaginary friend stuff, my uncle started having night terrors and couldn't sleep because of Peter or Patrick. It got so bad that they had to move him out of his room before he managed to get back to normal. Yo, I think I had the same experience in my mum's room. Like, I would just get nightmares every single day when I was sleeping in her room. And it was like always the same nightmare. And then finally I got my own room and then it stopped. But dude, that room. It always do be the room with a closet, you know? Because that room had a closet. And I always felt like I felt something was in there. Hate it. I was visiting family for winter break in Los Angeles. I was heading to the bathroom on the second floor of my aunt's house when I saw my cousin April on the stairs. April was 4 and very animated. She was busy making funny faces while sitting on the stairs. I asked her what she was doing. She said, "I'm cupping the lady with a braid." I looked around and there was no one else but us. I asked, "Where's the lady, April?" She pointed to a beam running parallel to the stairwell. I asked April, "What is the lady doing?" She said, "Making funny faces." I smiled and started walking up the stairs again when April said something that stopped me in my tracks. "Her braid's around her neck." I turned back and asked April to repeat herself. April pointed, "The lady is hanging by her braid. She's making funny faces." Then April started making a face which I then realized was someone gasping for air. Move out of that place. Chuck April away too. I'm kidding. Just kidding. But seriously, how freaking creepy. Man, why do kids see all these creepy things, man? What the hell? Dude, I remember so many stories of like my friends telling me like things that they see. So I had a friend who told me every single time she walks to the train station, she would see this lady following her. and the lady would go onto the train first and would like beckon her to like come onto the train. And she never went on that train where the lady was. And then guess what my friend finally says? She's like, but the lady had no head. And I got so freaked out, and I still remember it to this day because I have like the whole image in my head. Oh my gosh, what the hell? You could have told me that in the beginning, man. Jeez. So yeah, I hope she's doing well. I hope the lady isn't following her around anymore. About a couple weeks after I was born, my dad's best friend Jim died. They were really close, and one of the last things he wanted was to hold little me before he passed. His wish was filled, and some short time after that he was gone. Fast forward 7 years, I'm now a happy 7-year-old with a 5-year-old brother and recently born sister. One day the phone rings, and with my mum out and dad in the washroom, I thought it was going to be ignored as we kids were still too young to answer the phone. No call display, we didn't know if there would be a stranger. But my brother broke the rules and answered, hello? At this point, my dad is out of the washroom and is asking my brother to hand him the phone. He ignores him and keeps listening to whoever is speaking. Before my dad could ask a second time, my brother hangs up, looks at him and says, Jim says hi, and he says he misses sister. Then he goes back to playing. The look of shock my dad had is what I remember most about this. Oh my gosh. What the hell? Someone was playing a prank, right? Better be. It wouldn't be creepy if Jim had good intentions and were protecting the kids, right? It's only creepy if like the ghost is like evil, like a demon. My wife's mother passed away in 2003 from cancer. After the funeral, family and friends gathered at her house for a final celebration of her life. The gathering went late into the evening. My son, 3 at the time, needed to go to bed at that point. I walked with him up the stairs to where he would sleep. The room that my mother-in-law passed away in was upstairs, straight down the hallway as you reach the top of the landing. My son and I walked upstairs together, with me holding his hand. As we nearly reached the top of the stairs, my son stopped and wouldn't move, at the point at which he could just see down the hallway. He was staring straight down the hall. I looked at him and then down the hall to an open doorway to a completely dark bedroom. He just stared and would not move any further. I asked him, buddy, are you okay? His response was, Daddy, the light scares me. I looked again down the hallway where he was staring into darkness. Buddy, you see a light? Yes, Daddy, it scares me. I promptly picked him up and went back downstairs. To this day, the hairs still stand on the back of my neck when I think of it. Why though? Why was the kid scared of the light? Like, it wasn't like some scary face or like scary monster that he saw. He just saw light, right? Maybe it was just like a feeling. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I freaking hate filming when I'm reading scary stories, but I love reading scary stories. This happened to a friend of mine. We'll call her Minji. Minji is in her late 20s and works as an English tutor in South Korea. One evening a few years ago, she was tutoring a high school boy. They were up studying pretty late, and the buses stopped running. Being a long way from his house, the boy asked if he could just crash on her floor overnight and get the first bus the next morning. Minji was very reluctant because inviting a teenage male student to stay the night didn't sound like a great idea, but he was begging her and eventually she relented. They went back to her one-room apartment and she got into the bed while he laid a blanket out on the floor and they both fell asleep. A few hours later, at maybe 2 a.m, the boy wakes Minji up. I'm really hungry, he says. Let's go get some food. Minji opens her eyes and looks up at him in disbelief. Food? Now? It's 2 a.m, go back to bed. But the student insists, no, I'm so hungry, let's eat something now. She tells him that there's some ramen in the kitchen and he can fix himself some. This doesn't satisfy him. He doesn't want ramen. There's a 24-hour place just down the road. Let's go there. Eventually, after several minutes of persuasion, the boy gets Minji to come with him to the restaurant. They leave the apartment and head out. As soon as they're on the street, the boy turns to Minji and says, I'm not hungry. I woke up in the middle of the night and looked under your bed. There's a man sleeping there. They called the police and discovered that a homeless man had been living in Minji's apartment, sleeping under her bed for over 2 months. The boy only saw him because he was lying on her floor, so had a clear view under her bed. The police arrested the man, and thankfully there were no other issues. But that's by far the creepiest thing that's ever happened to anyone I know. Oh my gosh. Thank gosh for the boy. 2 months. Like, oh my gosh, he's so smart. What a smart kid. I would have just screamed when I saw the man, like, who the F are you? I wouldn't even be like, hey, I'm hungry. But honestly, it's so smart. So freaking smart. This is why you get a bed stand where you can't fit anyone underneath. That's my bed. There's literally no space for anyone except my dog. Oh my gosh. Oh my goshy. Oh my goshy. Oh my goshy. Oh my goshy. This is like the boogeyman came true. Oh my gosh. Creepy, creepy. Oh hell no. Can you imagine like a kid reading this? They'd be like checking under the bed every single day. I feel like that was us though. After hearing like so many ghost stories as a kid, we always checked under our beds just in case. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!